Morning, everybody. You can obviously hear me and see us, I guess. So we're going to talk to you a little bit today about Pagabo training and some work we've been doing with, part of our ecosystem, which will be, for most of you, but the companies you actually work with or work for. And we're going to tell you a little bit about what we're trying to achieve and why we're doing what we're doing. So I'm going to lead the presentation, and I've got Charlie in the background. Charlie is actually helping us sort of put this presentation together, and you'll have had some communication from Charlie. And I've also got Gary and Helen, who are in the corner there, if you can see that, within the corner for me. I don't know where they are on your screen. So they're from ProQual, and they're going to tell you a little bit about the training side, because they're actually helping us put this whole sort of program together. So it's about the future of construction, really. That's what we're sort of going to talk about. So let's move to the first slide then. So the first slide is a video, and we'll just do a bit of an intro. So it doesn't take that long, but it'd be just nice for everybody to see it, because hopefully it sets the scene really for everybody. So if you can play that, please, Charlie.
The future of construction. What does it look like? It all looks very exciting. But we're not there yet. So, how do we get there? We need new, fit-for-purpose qualifications to prepare our workforce for the workplace of the future. We need to innovate and adapt to overcome current challenges. This means we need to start doing things better by doing better things. There needs to be more collaboration within the industry to avoid a duplication of effort. But we need to make progress fast, as if we don't do this now, a disruptor will come into our market and they'll do it first. And we need a much more diverse industry, one that puts facilities in place to support occupational health, and one with a people-first approach that aligns itself to mirror the agile and flexible workers of tomorrow. All this while coming to the table with a serious approach to combating climate change. But to get to this point, we need to be ready today for the managers of tomorrow. This is what the managers of tomorrow are doing right now. They're young and sat at home playing video games. As an industry, we need to be ready for them. We can't change the past. We can barely change the present, but we can change the future. Let's do it together.
All right, so that's the future of construction then, everybody. I hope you're not all sat at home playing video games. The point is obviously there to demonstrate that in 10, 15 years' time, the people who will be running this sector, all parts of it, whether it's actually working on site or in pre-construction, procurement, client side, etc. The managers of the future, the people who will actually be running the sector and the industry, are probably still at school or have just left school, so they'll be thinking quite differently. And we need to ensure that the industry sort of meets those sort of challenges. So I'm Gerard Topless. I'm the executive chairman of Pagabo, and I'm also the person who started what we call the Future of Construction Initiative. And the Future of Construction Initiative, if you visit the website, www.thefutureofconstruction.co.uk, you will see that we're interested in 5 themes. There's learning skills, the qualifications, the future work and the future workplace, which is number 1. Occupational health and well-being, number 2. Regulation, legal, financial, political landscape, number 3. Innovation in manufacturing and construction, number 4, and climate change and sustainability, number 5. And we are going on a program with our clients, our contractors, our consultants, what we call our ecosystem, to try and work out what we need to do as a sector to address each of those challenges and come up with, hopefully, solutions that will either help us from a thought leadership and make us stickier, come up with actual ideas, i.e. business opportunities, and an example would be learning. We got a number of people together from our sector, and we've a lot of the people who you work for have come in, and we've contributed over the past 4 months, and we've created a number of qualifications, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about them today. There's actually 5 qualifications that we've actually generated, and we'll cover them. So today in this little presentation, we're going to talk about the quals, the benefits of the quals, bit of an overview, what the timeline is and what is hopefully expected from you, meet Gary and Helen, talk about what we call the onboarding process, which is getting involved in the qualifications, and then some sort of Q&A. So let's go to the first slide then, please. So I see this as what I call a life of careers and not a career for life. Young people, people in this modern world have a different approach now. It's not a case of sticking in the same job forever, being a bricklayer and wanting to be a bricklayer forever. Some people might want to do that, but some people might not. And if you have a different idea, if you've got an ambition to change what you do, and you join as a trade or as a QS or whatever you join the sector as, and you decide you want to do something different, I would hope the industry allows you to actually do that or meet your aspirations inside it. So a brickie, he or she might say, look, I've done all of that work. It's a great career for me, but I want to do digital marketing. We don't want them to have to leave the sector to do that. If we can have that opportunity inside the sector, it might not be for the same company, but if we have it inside the sector, then we're keeping that expertise inside our domain, and that's really, really important. So that's quite an important objective. So this whole process is about trying to start that journey for us. You've got to remember, we employ 3 million people in construction, turns over 110 billion a year, 300,000 businesses. We're a very important sector. It influences where we learn, where we play, where we get looked after in terms of our health. Everything that we do, live, work and play, is surrounded by things that have been produced and built. And that's an extremely important part of what we do. So let's go into the next piece then. So we've come up with 5 qualifications. So just a bit of background. We've worked with ProQual, who are what's called an awarding body. And an awarding body are the people who actually establish what the qualifications are, and they put together the forms of learning, which are then available to be taught. And we've had these 5 levels, so level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So anybody who's got vocational experience will understand what those levels mean. So they are at different levels, and they're part of a journey and a jigsaw, or an escalator probably, to take you through that. Trainee, junior, team leader, supervisory, and a manager or consultancy. So we've tried to map them against different levels inside our sector. And those qualifications have been what we call accredited. So we've taken them to Ofqual, which is the awarding body in the UK. So we've had them accredited. So these are real life qualifications. These aren't something that we're just doing for ourselves. They are real life qualifications which have been accredited by the bodies and will hopefully be part of a wider accreditation piece that we do. Okay, let's look at the next slide. So the benefits. So the benefits, why are we hoping you do this? Well, it comes back to what I said a little bit earlier. We want to actually try and keep the skills in our sector. So I have a view that we should attract people, the best people, into the built environment and construction sector, and then never let them leave. It's about that. Let's make this sector as exciting and as interesting as we possibly can, but also giving young people and older people those skills that meet the requirements that we need. Agility, a different workplace, working from home, which we've all seen this year, different ways of working, maybe a 4-day week, different skills, automation, technology. It's about having all of that and learning about that as a sector. And if you actually go through this process and help us deliver these skills and additional skills, it will hopefully help you with your own upskilling, your own staff development, gives you that CPD. It might create the next entrepreneurs in the workforce, whether they are in big business or whether you branch out. It future-proofs either yourself, the companies you work for, and our sector. And it creates a lovely environment, a great environment for the future worker. It's about trying to work smart rather than not hard, and encouraging new ways of thinking, so we can open up opportunities for you and also for the businesses that you work with today and hopefully work with in the future. So there's some of the benefits. So let's take a look at the next slide. So an overview. Our plan is to get you signed up. So So we spent sort of 4 months, 5 months working on these. We've had them Ofqual accredited, and we're going out to 25 people, of which most of you are on the call this morning, to actually test them to make sure that they are correct. Albeit we've had them accredited, we want to make sure they fit everything that you need and you see. So we'll be looking for some feedback during the process. We'll be you're our first 25 applicants. And you'll be hopefully there. We will ask you questions, we'll survey you, you will give us some feedback during the process to make sure we've done everything that is right and the qualifications are really helping you. There'll be an interview and what's called a skills scan. So there'll be a bit of an induction process, which Gary will go through. Then we'll onboard you and we're going to start the qualifications early in January 2021. So that's the sort of basic overview. Let's have a look at the next slide, please. So this is a bit of a timeline. So webinar today, we're going to start what we call the onboarding or the one-to-one appointments, which Gary will talk about tomorrow. And then they'll run to probably mid-January. And then we'll start the learning. And we're developing a bunch of materials to help you and be part of that support package. But Gary and Helen, will help you with that. Gary particularly because he's the assessor. So he's there to try and help you as learners and students on that journey. And we want to try and get it finished by the end of Q1. So we've got some sort of results, and then we can work out how to then roll it out to not just U25, but to effectively the wider construction sector. So let's move into the next bit then, which I think is Gary and Helen. So I'm going to ask Gary and Helen just to introduce themselves, explain what their roles are in this process, and then Gary, I think, will tell you a little bit about the onboarding process. So over to you, Gary and Helen.
Yeah, hi, I'm Gary. I don't look like my caricature, but I wish I did, but there you go. My role within Ofqual is get hold your hand from the beginning to the end, and my role is what we call an assessor. Some of you might have done a qualification in the past, an MVQ. Some of you might not have done. The thing that you've got to realise, it's not a scary subject. I will hold your hand, I will give you assessment plans, I'll give you ideas, examples of where to go, where to link to, who to talk to, and I'll be there throughout the journey over the next 2 or 3 months. The idea is when you're doing a qualification, it's not a marathon. You don't need to run. You don't need to run fast to the end. It's take your time. There is an end date to it, but if you go over that end date, don't worry about it because we can continue with an MVQ or qualification. I would say it's not a fail or a pass. It's an achievement. So we will continue with those qualifications until you achieve. So my role as an assessor is to help and guide you with that, hold your hand and help you through it. I am approachable. You'll have the contact details, you'll have me telephone number, my email, you can have a chat, you can email me, we can talk about things, I can give you ideas. I'll go into more detail when we're on the onboard about what we're doing about the one-to-one induction. Today is really not really good time to ask questions and answers regarding the qualification because some of you are on level 1, some of you are on level 5, so there's various different questions and answers we ask for qualifications. I must stress though that some of you, 18 out of 25, have sent me the school stamps and that. Those who haven't, and if you're in this webinar today, can you please get it to us as soon as you can, because that's going to help me. And what you've got to think about, it's not the ability of you, it's your job role that we need to fit around the school scan. So it's not you as a person. If you're coming in thinking I'm a level 4, or you want to be level 4, but actually your school scan says you're level 3. It's not you as a person, it's your job role that's determining that you are level 3 in that qualification. So that's me as an assessor. I'll go into a bit more detail on the one-to-one induction in a minute. I'll hand you over to Helen.
Hi everyone, my name is Helen Saville. Gary will be the main person of contact as Gerard and Gary have said previously. My role is a little bit different to Gary's in that I'm an internal quality assurer of an IQA. And what that means is that I'll be checking parity in the quality of assessment and standardisation of everyone's work. We do this to ensure that all assessments are carried out fairly and consistently within the process. So, what it means is that after Gary's assessed your work, I'll be sampling it, so not all of it, certain aspects of it, to ensure that the evidence within the portfolio meets the actual standards that's expected for that qualification. And that's basically my role. So it's mainly Gary that you'll be liaising with, and he's the main sort of point of contact. They're fantastic qualifications. I'm sure that you really enjoy completing them, and I'll pass you back to Gary, who'll talk you through onboarding.
Yeah, you have the next slide. Yeah, so onboarding. So today is the start of your learning. I've got some e-skills scans, like I said, I've got 18 of them. I would like you to send them ASAP. Following this, what I'm going to be doing is contacting you over the next 3-4 weeks and doing a one-to-one induction. Again, I was going to do a group induction, but because you're all on different levels, it would be quite hard to start messing about with different levels and answers and questions. So following from today, you will get contacted by myself by email to ensure that I can contact you at a certain time on a certain day to run it by your manager or your supervisor to ensure that you're allowed to do that time in work. And we'll then sit down, I will organise a portfolio at this end, electronic portfolio. I will be sending you some information, it's called induction paperwork. You will have to complete it. Charlie's going to be registering on the Learning Record Services, so you will have a ULN number, which is a unique learning number for that all candidates will start with a qualification. Charlie will also be registering through his company, and then we'll receive all that information, and in turn I'll put on the induction paperwork, email that to you, ask you to email it back to me. I'll contact you as a one-to-one to start an assessment plan, and then we can start the journey. Okay. Any questions?
So, right, okay. So, well, that's great. So, Gary, Helen, thank you very much for that great summary. Just a couple of points out of that. 18 of you have already submitted your skill scans and started the process. So, the 7, if you're on the call, you know who you are. I don't think we need to say anything about that. But Charlie will follow up afterwards, and we're going to send a copy of this recording, the webinar, and also a prospectus. I'm just going to bring the prospectus up in a second, and we'll just have a quick look at that, and then we'll go through some sort of questions. But great summary, Gary. Great summary, Helen. These guys have done a great job and worked with us. They've been part of our future construction learning group with their other colleagues, Jan and Pam. So it's been a very good piece of work we've done. So before we ask the questions, could you just bring up the prospectus, please, Charlie? So what we've done, everybody, is we've produced a digital prospectus. So this will be available on when you log into our Future Construction website. But in simple terms, there's going to be just page through it a little bit, please. A little bit of contents. Welcome to it. What we're actually doing, why we're doing this. Some of the stuff I've talked about a little bit more. Future proofing. Why learn with us? Life for careers, not career for life. That sort of analogy. Employability, supporting that retention. Then the actual course directory. So on the course directory, we've actually got details of each of the courses in there. Level 1, level 2, level 3, 4, and 5. And as you can see, these are all got course references, so you can find them on Ofqual. Sorry, just go back to one of the courses, please. That'll do. So time to complete and then guided hours. So that's the expected time it will actually take you to complete it. And the guided hours is the amount of learning that you'll be expected to do. So you'll be able to see from this little prospectus exactly, it'll support what you're doing. When you actually get the actual qualification and it's been allocated to you or assigned to you, then you'll get details of that specific qualification, which breaks it down. And that's something Gary will sort of walk you through. But this is a sort of summary piece. And then the final sort of bits of the prospectus, finding your level and how you'll be assessed, which I think is what Gary has sort of covered. So there's a prospectus to go with it. That'll be available as well. And that's a great little document there because we want to make sure that everybody's getting this or finding their way sort of properly and very professionally. So if you want to close that and just, if there's any questions really, we've got a Q&A tab. So if anybody wants to ask any questions, please feel free. And Charlie will manage the questions for us. Have we got any questions yet, Charlie?
Not as yet.
So have we? Oh, there's one question coming up from an attendee. Is there? Somebody's put a hand up. Can you see that? Or Anna Netri. Oh, well, there's a question here from Caroline. which basically says Charlie's done a great job and responded to her question. So thank you very much, Charlie, and thank you, Caroline. Okay, Anna, you have your hand up, I think. Do you want to ask a question? Can you bring Anna in? Can you, Charlie, or how would you do that?
Yep, can do.
The hand has gone down now. Oh, you're now permitted to talk, Anna.
Hi. No, I think it was raised by mistake, my hand, but actually I could ask something.
Yeah, fire away.
Regarding the type of after the assessment, so this type of qualification is recognized only here in the UK, isn't it?
Yeah, so at the moment they are, yeah. So I mean, Gary will probably talk a little bit of it, but vocational qualifications, training qualifications, they are accredited by Ofqual, which is a UK awarding body or an umbrella body, and Proqual are a UK awarding body, so they sit underneath Ofqual. Now, so I think the answer is yes, they are only accredited today in the UK, but in the future, who knows, Anna? Maybe in sectors like ours, you'd like to think there are qualifications that start to become recognised on a global scale. I know as an accountant, for example, or law, there's some sort of recognition between different sort of bodies, but I think that would be the answer today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Yeah, Gary, fire away.
Anna, some of our qualifications, especially the level 6 occupational health and safety, is delivered quite a lot in Qatar and Arabia and Saudi and all over the place, in America, Canada and Australia. Although be it they are an English qualification, they're still recognised by employers around the world. So just because you're doing an English qualification, it doesn't mean it's not going to be recognised. If that employer recognises that qualification as such, and you've got the competency and the knowledge behind that qualification, then yes, it would be recognised.
Okay.
In that country.
Good answer for that. Oh, we've got a couple of questions coming in now. So
thank you.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Thank you very much. Right, question for you, Gary. What type of work will we be doing? Is it workbook or more on-site activities?
No, it's going to be an electronic assessment workbook. And then along there, you will have some examples and ideas of where to get that information from. However, I will be doing a one-to-one induction, and I will be leaving an assessment plan, and we'll have a good chat about your qualification as such. I can't really talk about all qualifications. It will be an individual-led journey. So if you're going to be level 1, I will discuss you about the level 1, how it's going to be achieved, what ideas you need to go and look for. There will be examples that link to that assessment workbook that Gerard and Charlie's put together. And so don't worry about where you get information from. It will all be given to you. You will hold your hand.
Yeah, so I think for the person who's asked that question, once you get going and you're on your particular course, we will then produce a workbook for you to put that in. Long term, we want to try and see if we can make this digital first. It's really important for us. We've seen it with coronavirus, etc., to have the ability to work in a very agile and sort of distance basis. So we want to try and sort of match that. Another question I've got here from Kieran. Good morning, everybody. When will we find out what level of course we will be? Is it in the one-to-one? I think it probably is in the one-to-one sessions, isn't it, Gary?
Yeah, Kieran, I've got your school scan. And, following your school scan, what I'll do is look at what I've done a one-to-one induction. I'll go through the school scan with you, do what job role you're actually doing at the moment. And if it suits the school scan that you sent to me, that's the level of qualification you will be doing. Again, it's not about you as a person and the ability to complete a qualification. It's your job role will determine what qualification you're doing.
Yeah. Okay. So hopefully that's okay for Kieran. Okay. So, another question popping in now. I understand that we have until April next year to complete the course. However, if time permits, can you complete the course more quickly?
Again, all qualifications are candidate-led. Some candidates will achieve qualification a lot quicker than other candidates. Just because it says guided learning now to 40, it doesn't mean you've got to do the 40. It could be, and that including the name guided learning. What they're doing is that they give you 40 hours to complete the qualification. However, you can do it in 35 hours. It may take you slightly longer. Each qualification is candidate-led. You're not pushed to do it quickly, slowly. You do it in your own movement, you do it in your own time, and we do it so that you're not forced or pressurised into completing something that you don't want to do.
Correct. So that was a question from Robert. It's not a race. It's as quick as you need it to be, Robert. And the key is to make sure you get the quality of the evidence there in place, I think.
That's right.
And I'd just like to add, just to get out of the qualification what you would like. Because again, sometimes if you rush through it too quickly, you don't actually achieve your own goals from the qualification. So if you take a bit more time, it's sometimes more beneficial.
It does, and the other thing is, I've got a couple of skill scans where you might have ticked no, you never do that in that job, or sometimes, again, don't worry about that, because what we can do is I can talk around the subject, I can have a word with your supervisor, your manager, and see if you can do that type of work during the qualification, so that you've got a better understanding and a better knowledge of what that subject is in that qualification.
Okay. All right, that's a good response, that. So thank you, Gary and Helen, with that response. Okay, any more questions? Now, obviously, if a question pops in, Charlie's obviously there to answer questions, as we know. He's been doing a grand job for Caroline's question, it would appear. And Gary will be somebody who you interact with very shortly on your one-to-one. So again, if there's any questions, then you can ask those. So I think the next stage for everybody would be, I think Charlie's going to send an email out to everybody who's been on the call today, and also to people who haven't been on the call, explaining what the next steps are. And you will need to apply for a login to our Future of Construction website. Tell me if I'm wrong here, Charlie. And then once you set them up, they will then have access to this webinar and this information. And that's just for that collateral in the background. So you've got access to that. But then you'll be doing your skill scans directly with Gary. You'll get a UL number, a unique learning number, and then we'll start that process for you in the new year. And then Charlie will be managing surveys and a few bits, and he'll be the sort of point of contact from our side as well. Okay, am I right with that, Charlie?
Yeah, just you don't have to apply for the login for the TFOT website. I'll just set that up and send that to you with your password.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, okay, thank you for doing that. Okay, so if there aren't any more questions, I will say thank you for attending today. Thank you for joining us and being the first people in the UK to do these qualifications, which I hope will form an infrastructure to help small steps on a long journey to future-proof our sector, and hopefully help you all. Thanks for being part of it. Thanks to your organisations, and let's see what we can do. Good luck with everything. I'm sure you'll do fantastic work, all of you. So good luck, and I look forward to seeing you all pass. And we have our award ceremony in April. Are we planning an award ceremony? I don't know. Maybe we should do that. We'll have to now. No, I've said
we are now, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So thank you very much for attending, everybody. Have a good day. Have a good weekend, and also happy holidays and Christmas for everybody as well, because we're very close to that. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.